Alright, what do you find? Nothing. Need no more pictures. Go the other way.
First two.
Let me show you the outside of the motor. Keep going. Keep going, you're in a carburetor. Once you see a motor. Okay. Should be too far. Oh, there we go, cranks. It's 15. Spacer, sprocket shaft. See the number right there? That's the number you need.
24038.
Oh, it's 15. 15. Right above my finger. This is the Dyna 02 service book, which is the last year of a Timken bearing. The parts book on there. So that's the one it takes. So this here is the one that was in it. It's an 06 to 17. There's your Harley part number. Look in there. Big boy. Okay, then we have, there's 4 different ones. So you got this number here, which is the biggest one. The next one up in length is this one, which is 1095 thick. This is the 99 spacer. There's the Harley part number. Then we got a 990 spacer, which is I think the one we had over there, 03901A. Was that an 01A number on that? Or was it 99? Or was it a 99 number? And this is an 888 thickness. And there's the same number with a 99A on it instead of an 01. So
That's right here.
15.
240, 38, 99A.
99A, short one. Takes
You
this
got
one.
2.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
So this is the one you need. Harley should still have these. I don't know if any aftermarket source for these are available yet. I used to get them from Harley, obviously. But those are your 4 different ones. Now, if you have a different alternator offset, you will change this a little bit. But this is the stock one for Timken bearing bike. Now, this is a soft tail book for 12. So we do the same thing and see what's in here. Probably going to be that big long ass one. What do you have with a crank? These new books are set up different than old books. Crank. And show a spacer. There we go. 14 in this book, right there. Here's your number for that one. So that's the 0906, which is, guess what? It takes the standard late one, which is 06 to 17
There it is.
FL.
Send that back on?
Now this is an FL, but that's a soft tail. Doesn't matter, hardly changed, they're all the same. So, but these do fit other models. Dynas are different than soft tails and touring bikes. So you have to get the parts books and read them. But the biggest thing is when you put your alternator in that motor is you determine what you need by where it all sits in there, and then if the 888 works, fine, great, and then that's what you use. So initially you can put a big bunch of stack of washers in there and try to get a rough idea of what you need. Once you figure out what you need, then you just go buy the right one. But this is the one that goes with the Timken bearing. So unless there's something really goofy about that motor, this is going to be the one you're going to use. Why they gave you this big ass thing in here for, I haven't got a clue. They don't even make an 06 motor. Obviously it's all they had laying around, I guess. I don't know. So that's how you take care of that problem. So guess what we're going to need for this guy? He's going to need one of these.
Yep.
So he's going to have to go to Harley and buy one.
For the one downstairs or for the other ones coming?
If it comes, if that 113 comes with the same one as this, which I don't see why it wouldn't, because this is what they gave you. Obviously they don't know what the hell it takes. This is the one you're actually going to need.
Can we call them and say, don't send that one?
It doesn't matter, you paid for it already. I'm not going to discount you any.
No, just put the right spacer in.
Well, I don't know if they even know. I've never seen a twin cam before. I don't know if it's the same one used on everything or not. I don't know. Like I said, Evo takes a little short one. I know what Evos take. That's this an Evo. That's Evo. See this one here?
It's still bigger.
About 100 thou longer than this one, or 1/8 inch more. So because they have a bigger alternator on them things, more offset. So like I said, these vary slightly. Different models do different things. So take a picture with your phone, or he's going to watch this video, one or the other.
He's not going to.
He's going to go to Harley and buy his own, if they're even available. I bought this back in 12, you can see.
Why doesn't he just buy it off of you?
Because I only got 2 here, and I'm not going to sell mine. He'll get his own. I can drive all the way down to Harley. You want to pay me? That's at least $15 in gas. We're in California here. You got to order it anyway. They're not going to stock anything. So. But anyway, that's how they go. So that takes care of the spacer issue. Next thing was the intake manifold fiasco. So this is a 45mm Kenny, which is what we're going to put on the 113. So that's how big it is, which is basically the same size as the intake manifold. So here's a modified intake. See how big that is? It's an EVO, so it has no map sensor in it. So when you put this on top of your carburetor, see how it's basically the same size? In there. Oh, light for that. There you go. See how it lines up pretty nicely? So when you get an aftermarket manifold, it fits a 45mm carburetor. There's no reason to really go any bigger than that. You can put a 48 on there, but it's still going to flow through this port right here to get into the motor. So making the carburetor bigger than this doesn't really gain you much. You might gain a couple horsepower at most. You ain't going to gain a spot. Now, if you go to a fuel injection bike, then you have big ass stuff available. So this is 66, it says on the box. Right there. I thought this was a bigger one, but... so this is a little bit bigger than a 45. See the difference in size? Is that noticeable?
A little bit.
But what it comes down to is that size right there. And if you look at that size, and you look at this size, well, look at that. They're the same again. Or if you want to look at the manifold. Oops. See how the manifolds are the same? So it doesn't matter how big this is in here. You can, the stock 52mm manifold or injector is plenty big enough. Throttle body, whatever you want. I call this an injector. Other people call it throttle body. Injectors go in here. It's an injector to me. That's a carburetor. That's an injector. I don't give a shit what you call them. Anyway, this big ass thing here has to flow through that little small thing right there. So that ain't gonna make no damn difference if it's 52mm, because no matter what, this is a 45. It's the same size as that. So as long as you're 45mm or bigger, it's going to be maxed out here anyway. It doesn't make any difference. The only advantage you get in having this big, huge ass throttle, or the throttle body, and I don't know, whatever this thing, injector, is the manifold through here is bigger, so you have more plenum. So the bigger plenum area is going to make it run better. See how small the plenum is in this thing? There's no plenum at all. See how big this thing is? It's huge. That's from here to here. So that extra plenum area will give you more top end power. Not a lot, but a little bit. So that's the gain. Going bigger here is not the power. Bigger in here is where the power is coming from. So these look impressive and all that, but yeah, whatever. They don't do anything. So this here run just as fast. So this one on there is that. And this will probably have a better throttle response anyway. I don't like injectors that much. So. But anyway, there you go. That's your differences. So do what you want. Inject it, carbonate it. They all work the same. But whatever you do, don't use one of these pieces of crap over here. Because these are garbage. These things here, do not put one of these on your motor. They're dinky. See how dinky they are? Oh, it's hard to tell that way.
What is it?
See how dinky that is? See how you see the hole inside in there? This just about fits inside of this manifold. Stock CV.
Oh.
I don't care what you do to this thing, it's never going to run as good as that carburetor right there. People swear by these things. I swear at them. These are made for a constipated Evo motor, or a twin cam, or a Sportster. But the key part was that it was constipated. That means no air in, no air out. Now when you put more air in and more air out, then you got to jet it all up. But it's not the jets, it's all the needle in there, the emulsion tube down in there, air bleeds, all that stuff has to be changed. And guess what doesn't happen when you put jets in it? All of the other stuff you need done to it. So unless you send it out and have it professionally done, which I think is only one place can do that. Maybe 2 people in the US can actually modify that car to make it run right. Versus this one, you bolt it on, well, the stock 42, you just bolt it on, it's jetted for your application right out of the box. You can't do anything. The 45 is probably close, but it's a little bit bigger. So, anyway, there you go. That's how you work. What do we got now? We're in fork parts. Forking parts. Did you find your DX in there?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. The FXDX. God's gift to a Harley motorcycle, right? Is that the best Harley ever made?
It's outdated.
Is that the best Harley ever made, an FXDX?
Yes. Well, FXR and FXDX. But I'm putting Olin's cartridges in.
You know, I like my rigid frames. They
You know
handle
what really
great.
sucks? Are work shocks. They
Work
really
shocks? They're harder than
Works.
hell, but other than that, do they work?
They're terrible.
Terrible. Can't be any worse than Progressive. Alright, well there you go. That's how you modify stuff. Got all kinds of stuff. Do you see this new bearing upgrade kit? I just got this in.
Is that mine?
It could be.
Doubt it.
Primary upgrade kit.
I did all mine. All my bearings are done.
So this goes on your transmission main shaft for the up to 06 5-speed bike, you know, real Harleys. So instead of having a roller bearing in there with a sleeve, just press on your main shaft and your tranny, and you have a bearing that goes over that, which is a nice big fat roller bearing that lasts just about forever. They give you this big bearing here and eliminates the sleeve. So if you take your transmission apart all the time, it makes it nice, but other than that, who cares? Does this look familiar?
Yes.
What is it?
Bearing.
For what?
Neck bearing? No.
Neck bearing. You got 2 of these in your neck?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Wheel bearing?
There you go.
It's a wheel bearing.
It's a wheel bearing.
It looks familiar.
See? Wheel bearing. Wheel bearing. 25 millimeter wheel bearing. That's all it is. See, same OD, same ID, same width. So it fits an 07, 08 and up. Dual roll bearing, not the single roll like they do on the newer bikes. Double roll bearing. So instead of buying this fancy kit, you can go buy a wheel bearing and put it in there. So the trick is they take a snap ring, they leave a snap ring out. So they give you a new snap ring, which you already got 2 in the beak. So this is your stock application. You got your spacer right here. Then you got your stock bearings on top of that. You got a snap ring on both sides of the bearing to hold it in the primary so it doesn't fall out. And then you got a seal on the outside. So this seal here is smaller. Has a smaller ID in it because it sits right on the main shaft instead of light was on. Instead of sitting on top of the sleeve race with the race over here. So the stock bearing has a bigger hole in it because it goes around this. So see how this hole's smaller? And Indian does the same thing. Anytime you run a belt drive on your bike, you run the same seal. So that's a custom seal. Semi-custom. So that's what they do. So the trick to put that in is you take the snap ring out that holds the bearing on the inside. You leave the one on the outside so it doesn't come out of the bike. But it can go into the bike. So it can walk right out of the primary cover and go right up against the clutch hub, which is about this far away from the bearing. So when that happens, this goes over the end of the spline, and it starts getting almost off the main shaft, all the way against the clutch hub, which is going to cause issues. So if you do this stunt like putting this in there, make sure you put retaining compound on here so it doesn't move, because if it moves, it's going to be a problem. So, and the roller bearing is still way stronger than double ball bearing. So I don't see how this is an upgrade. It's a downgrade in my opinion. And to keep these from sliding around on the darn shaft, the trick for that is to put the sleeve on there that has the lip in it, which is somewhere around here. Is the lip sleeve thing changes right there. Right here, there's a part number for it, in case you don't know what it is. S&S makes these, which are used to be sitting over here someplace. So this is for a 5-speed bike, not a 6-speed bike. So this is 6. This is a 5-speed spacer, this is a 6-speed spacer. See the difference? The height issues. Okay, this seal here has a lip in it. I don't know if you can see it through the bag in there, but there's a lip in there. So when you slide this over your shaft, see that snap ring groove up in there? There's a lip after that. It's got a little bit, basically goes straight and it has a recess like that. So this hits on the end of the main shaft where the splines ends, and you go into the round part where the seal goes, where this goes on, presses on, it stops because it just can't go on any further. This one here is free to float all the way into the high gear and goes in and destroys the seal inside your high gear, which is this seal right here. And it goes in and bumps up against that seal and makes it leak like a sieve. So the upgrade is to change this and leave everything else stock. That's the upgrade. But that's not what they're doing by doing this junk. So there you go, my 2 cents. Buy better parts. And these aren't too expensive, they're reasonably priced. Yeah, somewhere in S&S one. S&S ones are kind of ridiculously expensive, but yeah, I don't see one. Somewhere I got them floating around. Alright, there you go. That's enough upgrade videos for your twin cam. Yeah, like I care. Alright, that's it for this one.